Hi everyone, in this video we are going to go over the prototype master set players and how you can get yourself a free one in the fastest manner possible. So let's show you how to get them in your lineup. And I thought I would touch on Radko Gudas first because he's super specific, and I think there's really only a certain section of the player base that would benefit from having Radko Gudas. Now at tier 5 at 86 overall, he does have gold truculence as well as silver bouncer. Now his body checking is already 95. This is where you get to kind of the situation where you just give yourself penalties because your player is so physical. The discipline stat also does matter. The lower the discipline stat, the more likely your player is to get called for penalties. At least that's what the EA developers tell me. However, he is absolutely dominant in his own end. There's no way around that. I do think, however, this is going to depend on how many Enforcer defensemen you have. If you can get Enforcer defensemen activated as a synergy, so you have, let's say, Marty McSorley as well, you can get him up to 86 speed, which isn't terrible. 86 is still kind of the line, but he's still going to be an extremely slow skater. You're going to have to pair him with someone really fast on the left-hand side, or you're going to get crushed down the boards by anyone that has 88 and above speed. So just be careful of that. I'll show off Radko Gudas first just because I think that maybe Division 1 players, the players that need to be able to knock people that just hold onto the puck forever off, Radko Gudas might be a little bit more important. For the lower divisions, it's a lot of end-to-end rushes, and he's going to be really bad at defending that unless you are very good positionally. Now, for the other comparisons, I thought I would just use HutHub. If you guys haven't visited HutHub yet, it is my database website for NHL 24. If you want any of the information on all of the cards that are in the game, go and check out HutHub. It'll have all the latest information in terms of the latest event, the recently added cards, the most popular searched, all of that. You can do that on the website, but you can also do a compare feature. So we've got the 4 other master set players: Mitch Marner, Brady Tkachuk, Devon Toews, and Nico Hischier. Now, when it comes to comparing their stats, Brady Tkachuk really is the only one that stands out in terms of size because he is 6'4", which is important because he also has the worst skating at 86 overall. Again, I think that it is going to depend on if you have some other fast players that you can play with him, because 86 is getting a little tough to use at this stage of the game. However, Mitch Marner's got some pretty good skating as well. 91 acceleration, 90 agility, and 89 speed. Really the most impressive skater, though, in my opinion, is Nico Hischier. At 89 acceleration, 89 speed, but he also is 6'1", decent agility as well. Like, I just think he's like an all-around very good skater. When it comes to shot, Mitch Marner takes the cake in accuracy. Power would go to Devon Toews. And Nico Hischier, what he excels at in other areas, his shot is pretty low. Brady Tkachuk, however, is right in that middle 80, mid to high 80s, which is nice. Deking, that's all Mitch Marner. And in all honesty, so far, he's looking like a really, really strong card. Everyone else is kind of in that middle range. Body checking, however, this is where Marner cards really take a hit. At 74 body checking, he's not knocking anyone off the puck, whereas Brady at 6'4", if he catches you, you're just getting absolutely ragdolled. Same with Devon Toews, a little bit more on the offensive side with only 82 body checking, and then Nico Hischier again is rather soft in that aspect. Defensively, however, it's the 89 faceoff rating that's super key for Nico Hischier, and then again, defensive awareness on Devon Toews, obviously that's going to be very high simply because he's a defenseman and he needs that. And then stick checking being the other important stat. Again, Devon Toews leaves that, but Tkachuk and Marner are actually pretty good. Now, speaking about their abilities, Mitch Marner has elite edges and then third eye as his zone ability. What's interesting here is that a lot of these cards, there's no point in going to 86. So Mitch Marner at 85 doesn't get another skating increase because it goes up by 0.5 every level instead of 1. And you don't have to guarantee losing one of your power-up collectibles. So at Tier 3 and Tier 4, we've been talking about this all season, you can throw in one power-up collectible, and you know that when you refund it, you'll get it back. At Tier 5, however, you have to give up 2, and you have to know that you're going to lose one when you do refund it at some point. Agile Dangler Booster, it's very difficult to activate synergies at this stage of the game, but Elite Edges is very important, especially for Mitch Marner, because he needs to be able to get away from people. He always gets thrown off the puck. I've had a hard time using Mitch Marner cards in the past, but I have heard from my community that he is pretty good. Taking a look at Brady Tkachuk, this is one where it's more than likely if you're going to invest in Brady Tkachuk, that going the full route is definitely worth it because he gets gold unstoppable force, which is one of the better abilities in the game. Silver truculence, as well as checking boost. Like, if you can get power forward and checking boost activated, this card is really, really effective but again, it's just so difficult to do that. But Truculence and Unstoppable Force is a great ability combo. He's got such good size and shot. It's just his skating. Now, I've used his brother's card. Matthew Tkachuk has been one of my favorite X Factors, and he's got the similar skating. And because he's so big, if you have Unstoppable Force activated, you're really not going to lose the puck all that easily. However, you will replace him quicker than some of the other ones simply because the rest of the, player base is going to start moving up in terms of skating, and 86 is tough. Nico Hischier is another one where you don't need to go to tier 5. So at tier 4, if you can activate two-way forward, it gets his face-off rating just a little bit higher. But Silver Quick Draw is what makes him impactful because Quick Draw is one of the better abilities in the game. At 89 speed and acceleration, he's got decent skating. I've used him so far on my no money spent team, and I've really enjoyed his card. I think he's also extremely impactful on God squads. You can just throw him down low in the lineup, and because he doesn't have gold Quick Draw, he just has silver. It only costs 3 points, and it's always nice to have that, penalty killer you can throw over the boards and make sure you win a draw. And then when it comes to Devon Toews, again, same kind of situation. You don't need to go to tier 5, so you can stay at tier 4, which means that you will not lose another power-up collectible. He gets Stick 'em Up at tier 4, which is a pretty decent ability. 88 speed, 87 acceleration. To be honest, you can go and make yourself like Schultz from Minnesota, his team builder. Very similar stats. But this is actually kind of a fun pairing if you have, Cale Makar, for example, because that's a real-life D pairing. But still an all-around pretty decent card. And again, you don't need to go to tier 5. Now, I've said this for years now. Please pick your favorite players. If you are a Devils fan, take Nico Hischier. If you are a Leafs fan, take Mitch Marner. If you aren't a fan of anyone and you don't really care, and you're just looking for the best option, I think it's Nico Hischier simply because the longevity of this card is much more than all of the other options. Having someone with Silver Quick Draw that has a good face-off rating, he could literally be your third or fourth line center and go on the penalty kill every single time. You need to win a draw, you can throw him out there when all of your top guys are gassed. I just think he's a really well-rounded card and definitely the choice of all of these 5 that I would pick. And I'm showing you guys. I'm not just saying stuff. He is actually on my no money spent. Now let's talk about getting one for free in the quickest way possible. This is going to be in objectives. In the prototype objectives, I'm not going to talk about the fantasy hockey objectives, but they play into each other quite well. I'll do a fantasy hockey video separately going more in depth with those. How you want to tackle the prototype objectives in the fastest way possible. The first one that you're going to want to complete is perform any deke with a prototype player item. This will net you a prototype collectible. Why that's important is because in the prototype sets, each of the master sets at 82 overall, they cost one prototype collectible, meaning that you can just get another prototype collectible, meaning that you can get one of the MSPs for free with that collectible, and then you can use that card to keep working towards objective. Now, there are 2 ways. Now, this is how to do it completely free. There are 2 ways to do it. In Hut Moments, if you go to the prototype moments, the very last one for Mitch Marner will net you a prototype collectible, so you can make one of the master set players. But you have to get 5 assists with Mitch Marner on semi-pro. This is kind of a brutal one because it's not score goals. You have to hope the AI can actually pot them for you. There is a way to remove the player lock in game. Turn off your controller, select sides. You can just choose to, not be position locked. And that makes it a little bit easier. It will be a bit of a grind for some people. However, if you are simply not able to complete this, there's a couple options here. In all honesty, I would probably just buy one or make a prototype collectible with something in your collection. Spend a few thousand coins. But again, I'd recommend doing it completely for free. Now, once you have that prototype collectible and you've got your master set player, you throw them in your lineup, you simply just go into squad battles on rookie mode and start spamming L1 to do the little dekes, or you can do toe drags, things like that. It'll take you about a game on rookie 4-minute periods. You can get that done, and then you get yourself a prototype collectible for that. And then you would go and make a second master set player item. Now, once you have that second prototype player item, I would use them on the same line and just throw them out in squad battles all the time and just spam shots. Shoot low far side so you get rebounds. This is going to take a while, obviously, to get 125, but it is worth it to get this one out of the way as fast as possible because the 80 overall exclusive player item will give you a one of 2 options. You're only going to have 2 options that you'll get from this pack, and it's not a choice set. You are either going to get George the Rock or Joe Thornton. And why that's important is because if you don't get Joe Thornton, then you know that you can go and get another prototype item. If you do get Joe Thornton in this pack, you can save yourself about an hour of grinding, so that's why I would recommend trying to get the shots out of the way first. I've messaged EA, I'm trying to get a choice pack change so that you can get both of these guys, because if you get stuck with Thornton from this pack, it puts you at a disadvantage. So let's pretend you don't get Joe Thornton. You pull George the Rock, and why that's important is because after 1.4 million coins, you will get the 80 overall Joe Thornton from Hut Rush. Now, 1.4 million coins is very easy to obtain because by doing all of the objectives in the Fantasy Hockey Hut Rush, as well as the Prototype Rush, you will net yourself about 1.4 million coins. These are all very easy objectives. I know the slap shots and one-timers are having a hard time being tracked. If you're getting stuck on one-timers, try doing them on the forehand. It sounds dumb and it looks weird, but I find that it tracks the one-timers better if you take one and the player shooting it is on their forehand, which again is dumb, but I saw some people struggling with that. Once you get the Joe Thornton, that's another player in your lineup. So now by total, you've got 4. So with the 4 players in your lineup, the next thing to go and attack would be hits. It'll take 90. If you're on total controls, just hold down circle or B and let go right when you go into somebody. That's how you do the hitting very easily with total controls. And I would stack a line. So try and make all 3 of the players forwards, for example. And that way you can just throw them out there and constantly go for a hit. That's all I would focus on. When you spread it out, it takes a little bit longer. And I find that if you can just hyper focus, it's going to do you a lot more good. Simply because once you complete this, you get another random prototype player. This could be anyone that isn't a master set player item, so you could get Joe Thornton and George the Rock, but it's good to find out because if you don't, you've got another card that you can use in your lineup to score goals with. Goals would be the next one that I would start to tackle. And again, I would shoot low far side on rookie and squad battles. And once you have completed the 60, that will give you another prototype collectible. And you should have a few already working towards this because if you've completed shots, you've probably scored a few times. And that will give you another master set player item. The only thing you can do with those prototype collectibles is throw them into master set player items. So I would do that because it adds more players to your lineup. Now, why adding players to your lineup is important is because that's how you get the power-up collectibles. So you complete 50 games. These cards stack, meaning that if you have 5 prototype cards in your lineup, it would only take you 10 games to complete this. And as you see, the last one is you need 200. And one of the more difficult ones is get assists, and that will give you an 84 exclusive prototype item. That's only going to be Jarome Iginla. And then that would have all of the free cards that you can put into your lineup. And again, you're working towards getting the 200 needed. That's going to take a little while, but it's about 1 squad battles run. And once you've completed the goals, then what you can do is actually just play squad battles normally on Superstar 4 minutes to try and maximize your points. And you should probably still be able to get Elite 1 or Elite 2. So it's going to be a heavy squad battle week for me, in my opinion. That way I can get all of this done and get the free power-up collectible. And again, this will net you enough power-up collectibles where you could take the card all the way to 86, but like I mentioned in the preview of those cards, there's only really 1 or 2 that I would actually even recommend going to 86. It's really not worth it at all to go up +1 overall and all the other stats that aren't skating if they're not going to gain an ability that you're going to want to use. I also want to touch on the fantasy hockey event. Again, I will have a more in-depth video on that, but just playing games and doing things with those prototype cards, you will work towards the fantasy hockey objectives. This will not net you a free fantasy hockey card, but it will significantly reduce the cost. You'll get 24 fantasy hockey collectibles, meaning that you would only need 12 more to get a master set player item, which would run you about 200K. Again, not for the free-to-play players, but if you do have that kind of money, at least you know that you can get one at a major discount. Now, what you could also do if you've got some capital is just simply buy like some of the cheaper ones. It looks like about 15K you can get George the Rock. And again, if you get 2 Joe Thorntons, let's say, then at least you can throw them in your lineup. You want to sell these cards immediately when you are done the objectives. And as they go along, you are going to lose a lot of money. So it's going to cost you quite a bit right now to get some of the other ones. You got to remember that once the objectives are kind of done or the new event comes out, things like that, these cards are going to crater in value because the only reason that they're being held up right now is the fact that you can use them to work towards objectives. So if you can fill your lineup, you can get the games played objectives done quite well, but they're all going to be very expensive. So just keep that in mind. If you've got some coins and you can bang out some objectives quickly, you can buy Chris Draper and then just sell him right back for roughly the same price and just use him to get some things done. So I hope this helps explain, guys, what you should do to try and get your free prototype master set player item complete. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Just join my Twitch stream as well. I stream every afternoon, and I'll be happy to answer your question live there. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.